AskReddit. Have you ever walked in on your husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend having sex with someone else? What did you see and what happened? Yep. Was dating this ridiculously hot girl in college that I knew was out of my league, but we still were together for over a year and I was in puppy love. She got a job at the campus liquor store and I immediately start hearing stories about her cool new boss who is obviously trying to fuck her from day one. Fast forward a few months and she decides we should sleep at our own apartments so she can get better rest. The next morning I'm driving to work at 7 AM and swing by her place to drop off a note and her boss's car is parked in the driveway. Like an idiot I go inside and immediately hear them fucking. I run upstairs, but her door is locked. I bang on the door and all goes quiet. She even whispers, "Shh, just wait until he leaves." I yell, "She's your fucking problem now" at the door and walk out. We never spoke again. Edit. Wow. Who'da thunk a heartbreak from 15 years ago would end up reaping so much karma? It was a weeknight. I woke up a few hours early, 4 AM-ish, to play a few video games before work. My wife, of 6 months, is not in bed with me. I call her phone and hear it ringing in the guest room. I peek inside and saw her in the throes with one of her male friends that I had met the previous night. They did not see me, so I closed the door. I went out to the garage and returned with a claw hammer. I sat against the door for almost an hour, deciding what to do with my life. After that, I kicked in the door, gave them both a stare that I can only hope froze their blood, then walked out and drove to work. I left her that night and I kept her hammer. She begged me to stay with her. It was winter and I did have to live in my car for almost a month, but it was still the best decision I ever made. The summer after my freshman year in college, I caught my girlfriend, who had just graduated high school, making out with her former band director in a car parked in her driveway. I watched for a minute or two from across the street until I saw her swoop down for the BJ. She called me the next morning to ask when I was picking her up for a concert for which we'd made plans. I asked her, "When I kiss you, will I be able to taste name redacted stick?" Aftermath. Some good citizen sent that guy's wife a letter detailing his infidelity, and a few weeks later some prankster beat the crap out of the guy's car with a baseball bat. Bad luck for that silly old bastard. Yep. At a small Halloween party at our house, I went to bed early, midnight, and went to go sleep in our bedroom. So far so good. Then the boyfriend comes in and tells me that I need to sleep in the living room and he's made up a couch for me. I'm annoyed but sleepy, so I trail along to the living room. I can't sleep and a few minutes later get up and go back to our bedroom, and his ex-GF from high school that he had recently re-met via a HS reunion is naked on top of him and fucking him. Icing on the cake, 4 months later they got engaged. Extra icing. They got married 2 years ago and she sent me multiple messages asking me to come to the wedding because she said I meant a lot to him and that I should be there. Fuck that. Last year at Bonnaroo, me and my girlfriend bumped into this really hot Iranian American girl and the guy she was hanging out with. He was giving the boyfriend wife vibe and put his arm around her waist once or twice, but being the inquisitive guy that I asked if they were a couple. They both say no and some awkward silence hangs in the air for a second. We go with them to a different stage to see the Black Keys and he goes back to his tent because he's tired. We all take ecstasy after he's gone. When we are heading back to the campgrounds, the girl, in a very empathetic state from the ecstasy, asks to go make sure her friend is alright, though she had intimated that she wanted to hang out with us. When we get back he gives her the sad puppy dog face and she convinces him to come back to our campsite with us. When we get back, she and my girlfriend start making out furiously while he and I just sitting there. I'm pretty used to this by now. We've been together a long time and I just ignore it like nothing is going on, carrying on a conversation with this dude. He totally freezes up at the awkwardness of the situation, then gets this sad look on his face like, "Oh, I understand." I tell him that we should give them some time and I offer to walk him back to his campsite. He agrees and we head back. I take him almost all the way, give him a little bro hug, and wait for him to go into his tent. As soon as he's out of sight, I fucking sprint back to my campsite about a half a mile away. When I get back, the girls are fucking in the tent and I joined in. True story. My fiance dragged me to a jewelry store to pick out possible wedding rings. She took off for her place later that night because she had to work brunch the next day. She lived a little over an hour away. I took the next day off of work and decided to surprise my fiance by showing up at her place at about 8:30 in the morning. I walked in on my fiance laying naked, spread eagle, on the bed. She was masturbating enthusiastically while a 56-year-old dude was arched over her fucking her face. Evidently she had brought him home from the bar the night before. She was 26 at the time. When I said, "What the fuck's going on here?" her response was, "Oops, busted." Long pause. "How long have you been standing there?" My girlfriend at the time went with me to the hospital one day so I could visit one of my really good friends who just underwent surgery. She left the room to take a phone call and told me she had to go and take care of something. I stayed for about another hour. I leave and go home. We lived together, and when I walked in the front door, there was some guy on top of her on the couch, just going at it. I slammed the door, called them out, and tried to grab the guy, but he was able to get away from me. My girlfriend tried to explain everything, but I didn't listen to any of that shit and left. Flash forward to a couple years later, she comes crying to me telling me she made a huge mistake because the guy she cheated on me with, and apparently at least 5 others while with him, was an asshole. So I looked her straight in the eyes, had a firm stance, a smile on my face and said, "Do I know you? I don't recognize you with your legs closed." I was with my girlfriend at her friend's house with a few of my friends. I was cuddling with my girlfriend on the couch watching TV when all of a sudden she gets up and says she'll be right back. I thought nothing of it, since we had been dating for a few years and I honestly thought we were in love. After about 15 minutes I decided to go look for her. I walked into the guest bedroom in the house and found her giving one of my friends a blowjob. Without hesitating, I immediately started beating him in the face with my fists. After I felt satisfied, with tears in my eyes I said to my friend, "See you later man," and I said to my girlfriend, "Peace out you fucking cunt." Looking back I think I handled it in the best way possible. I never caught my ex-fiancée cheating on me, but I knew it was going on, and she admitted to it, begged to stay with me, promised to move to where I was living to continue it, blah blah blah. I told her to get bent. The real story is from the other perspective. About a month or so after I had turned 22 I was single and loving it. My friends and I went to a cougar bar to have some fun and see what could happen. I end up meeting this amazingly gorgeous 38-year-old woman there. She seriously looked like she was 20. Cue bad hip hop and plenty of mixed vodka drinks and we are back at her place. We start getting busy in the living room and things quickly move upstairs. She insists we keep the lights off because it was sexier and mysterious. I'm just thinking she might have a scar or something that she is embarrassed of. No big deal. We fuck for like 45 minutes, take a break, smoke, and go in for round 2. Now at around 3:45 am the door creaks open mid-thrust doggy style. I turn and she freezes. In walks a short diminutive man. I'm 6 feet 4 inches and 220 pounds. He was maybe 5 feet 7 inches and around 140 pounds. He flips on the light and I see a picture of her and him on the dresser in full wedding garb. I notice the ring on his finger and the open closet with both men and women clothing. Instantly my brain shuts down to survival mode. I pull out, condom still firmly wrapped around my cock, and judo roll off the bed. She gives me a funny look, then looks back at the husband. I didn't see his facial expression, but I heard him say, "Oh, sorry hun, didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to grab my toothbrush." I hear footsteps leading to the bathroom, a fumbling of a drawer, then footsteps back out of the room with the door closing behind him. I get up on the bed and ask the lady, "What the fuck was that?" Being 22 I had never experienced being caught with someone else's wife, and I was dumbfounded. She and I sat there and talked for about an hour. She loved her husband, but he had his genitals disfigured in the first Gulf War when he was 18. They had been married for 20 years, and he was unable to satisfy her sexually, but emotionally he was the sweetest guy in the world for her. I understood, but I had long since been turned off, despite her coaxing me to continue. We fell asleep and I woke up the next morning and cooked them both blueberry pancakes and we all chatted. They were a pleasant couple and they drove me back to my car at the bar around noon. Fucked someone's wife and made him blueberry pancakes. PS. This isn't a throwaway. Edit 2. Thanks for all the feedback and hilarious responses. Lol. Made my day. If anyone is wondering what bar I was at, it's called Sky Lounge in Los Gatos, California. Careful of the women you take back from there, although it's quite the fun bar.